Hi, and welcome to episode 136 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm Ren,
I'm River.
and today we are going to be talking about clay magic. Woo!
Woohoo!
I'm very excited about clay magic because I really like working and shaping things with my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just really nice because it's part of the earth. And so that's something that's like, I don't know, maybe you can put your physical manifestations into this or your
Mm-hmm.
intentions into something physical and then have it in your house, or you can break it. We're going to talk about all this stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this topic.
And we should say, I think your grandmother, somebody in your family gave you a kill,
My
a-
grandmother.
and we're storing it in my
Yes, it's at
house
your
because
house.
she doesn't have
We have
room
no
in
space.
her tiny apartment. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, let's get this bad boy,
Yeah. Use the
hooked up.
words, use the terms that you use. When are we going to use our kiln?
Oh yeah, I say it's ours, and she's like,
Oh, yeah,
is
whatever.
it really?
Is it really? No, I don't mind it being our kiln. We're both going to probably get some good use out of it once we get started.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited about it. We've got it in our garage, but it takes a special plug,
Plug,
and so we just have to have a electrician come out and
and
do
like rewire all that stuff.
that little plug, and then we'll
Yep.
be good to go. And then we can do our own clay magic. I'm very excited.
Yeah. I mean, you can
But
also do clay magic without a kiln too.
that's true. We'll
hmm
talk about that too.
Yes. But
Okay,
first,
so drinks.
yes, what are we
Um,
drinking?
we are both rushing around like idiots this week,
Yeah.
due to our various jobs, and my mom, she's now fallen 4 times.
hmm
Uh, anyway, I'm
hmm
headed back out of state to help her.
As soon as we're done podcasting,
Yep,
basically.
pretty much out the door.
Yeah.
So we didn't have time to play around with drinks and look
Mm-mm.
things up and
Nope.
experiment. So we're just like, let's just drink one of our favorites.
hmm
And I know that you had made some homemade pink lemonade,
Yep.
and
I made
so
it was like it's strawberry lemonade
strawberry lemonade.
yesterday. So rather
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, so I knew you were drinking lemonade, and I chose one of my just go-to favorites, which is the High Priestess. That's that gin and champagne and lemon that
hmm
turns purple. I
Basically what I'm drinking, but on steroids.
on steroids. Yes. Yes. So yummy. Okay.
Yum.
But what is clay magic?
Yes.
And this was actually all Ren's idea. I had never
Oh,
even,
I'm
this
so
didn't
excited.
even cross my mind.
Uh-huh. It
But
was something I was looking at something and I was just like, oh, I didn't even think about it this way. And I was like, I immediately added it to our calendar. I was like, we are doing clay magic. No ands, ifs, or buts. We're doing it.
very, very exciting. Clay magic is a form of magical practice that involves using clay as
hmm
the medium to shape and manifest intentions, desires, or spiritual connections. And since it's rooted in the earth element, clay magic is centered around the transformation of natural clay into tangible objects with symbolic magical significance.
hmm
The practice combines the elements of sculpture, ritual, and intention setting to create powerful, personalized objects that can be used in various of all kinds of magical stuff, which we will
hmm
also talk about.
hmm
But did you know clay is actually a renewable resource? I didn't know this. I know that you probably do because you've
hmm
worked with clay before,
hmm
but it is a renewable resource because it can be replenished over time through the natural process of weathering and erosion. It's actually a fine-grained soil, and it's combined. It's composed of minerals like silica, alumina, and water.
hmm
And it's formed by weathering and erosion of rocks over thousands of years. So it's a
hmm
constant, ongoing process. So it's a renewable thing. It's
hmm
just there. And boy, in Georgia, we've got
We got a lot of
red
it,
clay
a lot of it.
everywhere.
But one of my favorite things about clay is no matter what state it is in, like let's say you're working in pottery, you have
Mm-hmm.
your raw state, basically, your
Mm-hmm.
lump of clay, and then let's say you dry it out, and then let's say you fire it. You can take it back from that process and put it back into clay. I mean, it is a hefty process of like soaking it in water and all of that, but it's like this renewable source, like you were just talking about. It can change
I did
state
not
so many
know
times.
that.
Yep, even after it's dried out, you can put it back. So there's no
Huh,
waste when you work with clay. When I was taking the class, there was a quote waste bucket that you threw all scraps, hard, whatever, into that bucket, and they were able to recycle it, and we were able to use it again later on in that semester.
how cool is
Hmm.
that?
Yeah,
That's awesome. I
I
love
like
that.
it. It's so cool.
So the key aspects of clay magic are number one, its connection to the earth element. It's like duh,
Yes,
obviously,
obviously.
obs.
Obviously.
Clay is a natural material derived from the earth, and so of course the earth element is
Hmm.
very big with working with clay.
Wow, that was a
Work.
profound statement.
I know an herb is an herb, man.
Clay is from the earth.
Working with clay allows witches to tap into the grounding and stabilizing energy of the earth element, which can enhance magical intentions.
Oh
And if you're
yeah,
working with
definitely.
though anything, if your intent aligns with the element of earth, then so much more power is available to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can create magical objects. You can sculpt objects like amulets, charms, figurines, ritual vessels. These creations can be tailored. This is why I like clay magic
Hmm.
because it can be specific to your intentions. You're not buying something ready-made that someone
Hmm.
else has made. You're
Hmm.
making it yourself, which
Yeah,
adds so much more
it's so
power to
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can use it for things like protection and healing, abundance, or spiritual connection. And it's so easy because you're doing it with your own hands to imbue your intentions into it. It's even easier than, we always talk about focusing on
An
the bubble
intention.
around us or an
Yeah.
intent,
Yeah.
but you're touching it with your own
Hmm.
hands. And so you're physically imbuing it as well as energetically imbuing it. As you shape your clay, you focus your thoughts and energy on your intentions, and that infuses your clay with your desires and
Hmm.
puts your magic into it automatically.
It's so
That
cool.
It is very cool. I can't believe I had never thought about this before.
Hmm. Hmm.
The process can be meditative and transformative. I mean, I like to
Oh
create.
yeah.
Both of us, I
Hmm.
think, are creative people. I like to paint and write, and you are creative in all kinds of ways. And I can just see using clay. I just have never thought of it before.
It's
But
so cool.
anyway, working with clay also helps boost your confidence and patience because it's not like you're done.
Hmm.
There's all these steps that have
It's
to
a
be.
process.
It
Hmm.
is a process, and you can imbue this magic and intention through each of those steps of processes.
Hmm.
If that did that come out right? Steps of processes. That doesn't sound right.
Steps of processes. Yeah, definitely.
That's not right. Anyway, you all know what I mean. I'm just very
Yes.
excited about this. So I'm
I
giving my
mean,
little.
it is extensive, like the amount of work to work with clay in the way that we're thinking, because you don't have
Mhm.
to dry the clay out all the way. You don't have to have a kiln. You don't have to fire it. You don't have to glaze it. You don't have to do any of that if you don't have the ability, if you don't want to. There's many, many ways to work with clay in your magic.
And we'll talk
So,
about the different types of clays because
yes,
certain clays have no choice but to be put into a kiln
yes,
in order to
yes.
get that final product, but some
You
don't. Some
also
are,
have some of those like kind of kid-like plays where you just have to put it in the oven.
yeah.
And
Is that Play-Doh
that's
or
as simple.
Play-Doh
No,
never
there
hardens?
is clay. And then there's just clay that air dries as well.
Yes,
There's
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get into all of that, let's talk a little bit about the history of clay magic.
Okay.
So, I mean, if anybody is like us and we really enjoy history and all
Hmm.
of that, you understand already that pottery was really big in every what am I trying
Ancient
to ancient
culture.
culture
Yeah.
exactly. So we have like pottery itself, like pots and pans and all of that. But you
The
also
things
have
that they use to
yeah,
carry the water from because
and
they
the
didn't have running water.
wine. No.
And the
And
wine.
the
Yes.
wine. But you also have these sacred figurines, which I think are
Hmm.
beautiful. And
Hmm.
so, one of these ancient cultures is Mesopotamia. Like,
Hmm.
duh, right?
Right.
So, in ancient Mesopotamia, clay was used to create small figurines that were be like like believed to hold protective or healing powers.
Mm-hmm.
And they also had cuneiform tablets, which were also
Mm-hmm.
made of clay.
Mm-hmm.
And these were one of the earliest signs of writing. And they also could contain magical spells and rituals. Like they used it for more than just writing. They used it for a lot. They used clay for a
Yeah,
lot, basically.
I feel like in one of our episodes we talked about I think it might have been a curse or hex episode, which would have been an After Dark episode where we talked about how clay, the first hexes that we could find in writing were done
Hmm.
on clay tablets
Oh
way,
yeah,
way
we did
back.
talk about that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also have to think about like the ancient carvings and designs and everything in what not mountains, in caves. A lot of
Oh
them
yeah.
were made from the mud and clay, a lot of the etchings and stuff as well. So
Hmm.
that you don't have to have the clay be the what's the word? Like the item that you're
The
imbuing.
medium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it can also be just a part of it. It doesn't have to be the whole thing.
Hmm.
So ancient Egypt is also one of those cultures. So clay was used to create amulets and other objects for protection in both life and death, and that was very important in Egypt.
Hmm.
Mummification rituals often included, yeah, placing clay charms with the deceased for their journey into the afterlife. I know we've talked about this a lot
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
for
I feel
them.
like they found a lot of beautiful clay pottery and
Hmm. Hmm.
clay artifacts in the pyramids and all of that kind of things. But did
Hmm.
you know, speaking of Egypt,
Yes.
they also created clay figurines uh, that would represent the enemies of the Egyptian state. And then on these little clay puppets or figurines, whatever you
Hmm.
want to call them,
Hmm.
they would subject those effigies, I guess is the word, uh, in order to protect their ruler by suppressing rebellion or attack. So let me say, like they would decapitate these dolls, or they would
Great.
pierce these dolls with sticks, or drill holes into them, or suspend them bound with ropes, or place them under pots so that they would always be ground down with each turning of the hinge on a pot, or inscribed on a shoe so that they would be stepped on with each step.
So sort of like a very ancient voodoo doll.
Voodoo doll, yes.
Very ancient voodoo doll. But I mean, they off of that, I did not know any of that about, all of the
Hmm.
stones and clay figurines in Egypt. But what I did know was a lot of the figurines that we currently know today are made of their emperors, and they always have emperors is not the right word.
Pharaohs.
Pharaohs, gosh, emperors. I'm ashamed of myself. They're pharaohs, and a lot of their high society people were
Hmm.
made into these figurines because their journey into the afterlife, but they also believe the journey back. And so they had these figurines made and crafted of these higher known people just in case they came back and they needed a place to go. They had their own, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like their own
It's
vessel
like
to
an
return
effigy. Oh,
to.
a
Yeah.
vessel's a good word.
So
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I know about that
Didn't
is like they had their vessels made so that if they did return, they would be able to live in their vessels.
didn't they also place during the mummification process the organs in clay pots? I
There,
feel like
yes, that sounds
I feel
right.
like they did, but I don't know if I just saw that on a
Hmm.
horror movie or if that was a
No,
real thing. Is
no,
it just from mummy
it sounds
movies?
familiar. So like I've read it somewhere, but I need to double check myself before I'm absolutely, yes, that's what they did.
Well, I know in the movie The Mummy, he needed to get all of his little organs back, and they were in these little clay vessels but I don't
I
know if
mean,
that's
some movies
true or
are
not.
based in some
That's
factual
true.
information, but I'm gonna have to double check that and then get back to
Okay.
you.
Okay. Okay.
But now we can move into the classical antiquity.
Hmm.
So the Greeks and the Romans used clay to create statues and figurines. I mean, we all know the beautiful statues of the Greeks and like what
But
they
weren't
made
they
and
made
figurines. And
mostly out of marble though?
there was a lot out of marble, yes, but they
Okay.
also did use clay. And
Okay.
so they made these figurines of the gods and goddesses and mostly what was centered around their religious practice at the time.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so clay vessels such as aphrame, Is that how you pronounce that?
I think it's amphora. I don't
Amphora,
know. I took Latin, but
affirme, amphora, same thing, right? No. But they were
pots,
often
vessels.
decorated with symbols and used in ceremonies.
Okay.
But I do know that a lot of them were like carved out of marble,
Which
but
fascinates
they
me.
also did use clay, but they also did use iron at a certain point, not in early Greek,
Mm-hmm.
but later on they started using iron.
Hmm.
And then in the Middle Ages, because a lot of them, fun fact, a lot of them sunk to the bottom of the what's that body of water? Black Sea over there,
Yes. I mean, that's
or
yes.
the Mediterranean
Oh,
Sea? Which one?
yes.
By Italy?
I don't know.
I'm great at geography.
Geography. Mm.
But there have been a lot discovered at the bottom, like a lot of ships have
Okay.
sunk and there are some iron statues and all of that. So just
Oh,
fun
how
fact.
fascinating. I didn't know
Did you
that.
know?
Did you know?
So in the Middle Ages, clay continued to be used for magical and spiritual purposes. So pottery and figurines were crafted with symbols and signs believed to be like bring good fortune and ward off evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the indigenous traditions where indigenous cultures around the world they've used clay for a very long time, longer than, what we know, based
Mm-hmm.
on some missing information.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, Native American tribes in North America created clay pipes and pottery adorned with symbols for ceremonies and rituals.
Okay.
And then last but not least, what we're going to talk about is the Renaissance and beyond. So Renaissance till now, basically, which is a lot. So the Renaissance period was a resurgence of interest in alchemy and mysticism, as we all know. And a lot of this included the use of clay in magical practices. Clay vessels see, there's the word vessels. Clay vessels
Mm-hmm.
were crafted for storing potions and other, mystical concoctions and all of that. So but I know that they're used for a lot more than just, vessels and storing potions and etc.
Mm-hmm. Because I think now with the advent of in modern times, we our glass bottles, we all like our little glass
Oh, I
jars.
love a good glass jar.
So and I feel like glass is better. It doesn't leach like I think a clay
hmm
vessel. I mean, I
hmm
guess you worked with glazes and stuff before, so I
It
don't
de
know
it
if
depends.
yeah,
It
yeah.
does.
So, but I do still love a good clay, not pot. That's I mean, I guess vessel seems to be the
Vessel, yeah,
word that
vessel's
we've
a
come
good
up with.
word.
Well, let's talk about the types of clay like you were talking about. There is air dry clay, and that you can buy it in the craft
hmm
store. Here we
hmm
have Michael's, and these either harden by air or you can quote fire them. It's not really firing like as in a kiln, but you can put it
hmm
in a normal oven. And then you've got fire clay, which has an extremely high firing range. And you probably should have done this part of the podcast because you know more of this because you've actually worked with clay and firing techniques.
Well,
Um,
we only got to see the firing happen. We didn't actually get to work with the machine. We didn't get to really know all the details about, oh, it gets to this degree and that's why it does
mhm.
this. We just kind of made stuff with the clay and did fun
And then
things,
your
gave it to our
professors actually,
professor, and then
yeah,
we
yeah.
went and saw them put it into the machine and start it up, but that was it. Like nothing
Okay.
else.
I'm excited to use the one that you got from your grandmother
We're gonna
because
have to
that
learn.
I know it's going to be fun. It's huge too. You know, I think they've got little tiny ones because I was looking at them before at thinking, oh, this would be a good Christmas gift to ask for until I saw the prices. And I'm like, this is
Yeah.
not in our price range.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fire clay, their firing range begins at 16,000 degrees. C is
So
Celsius or
Celsius.
centigrade?
Oh,
Celsius. I
Celsius.
don't know. C. Yes.
B is Celsius.
Okay.
What world are you
I
living
don't
on?
I live in the Fahrenheit world, okay? I don't
I
know
know,
the
but I have
other
only
world.
known of the Fahrenheit is F and C is Celsius.
Okay. Well, what's centigrade? Where did that come from
I
in my
don't
brain?
know.
Is it old learning from a long time ago or
I
something?
don't
I don't know.
know. Wow.
Anyway, it can endure extremely high temperatures, so it's perfect for making extra hard pottery projects. Fire clays are one of the purest types of clay with very little particles or other components,
hmm
which I like the particles and impurities in clay.
hmm
I think it makes a beautiful, you've made some beautiful mugs and you made me when you were in taking those classes. What was it?
I
You
made
made
you
me a
an altar dish.
an altar dish and a mortar and pestle.
Did I?
Yeah.
I
Well, you
don't
made
remember.
me the bowl. Yeah, I you made me a mortar and pestle.
I don't remember.
But anyway, really cool
Anyways.
stuff. And then you've got porcelain clays, which are typically used to make porcelain pieces. Is that your dog? She's got her little puppy saying hi to us
Oh
all.
my gosh, we just had Amazon deliver stuff.
Ah, I see. Porcelain is typically white in color, so it lends itself to bright white pottery pieces. And it's usually fired at
Wow.
high temperatures in
Hmm.
a kiln.
Yes.
Earthenware clay has been used by potters throughout history and is probably the easiest form of clay to be used. It's very sticky, is the word that it was described at. It has a high plasticity, so it's easy to manipulate and work with. This is the one that we see on TV on the pottery wheel, where you cast
Hmm.
it onto the pottery wheel and then it spins and you can use your hands to, which I don't know how to do any of that. I think
It's
you've probably
hard. It's
learned to do that.
very hard. You look at it and you see it on like TV, you see people doing it, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I could do that. No. Because I thought the same thing and I really struggled with it. I never really quite got the rhythm of it, which is sad.
And
I wish I had, but never quite got the rhythm of it because you have to get it centered perfectly
oh
on this
yeah,
spinning
otherwise you
wheel.
end up with
It's like
lopsided stuff.
lopsided. Oh gosh. No.
That's fun
I
though.
still would like to take more classes on that. That would be fun.
Yeah, me too. That would be fun.
Hmm.
And then there's ceramic slip clay, which I had a friend. It's been years since I've talked to her actually, but it's a liquid clay that you pour into molds,
Oh yeah.
and then it hardens, and you take it out, and you use a little sandpaper to get off the edges of the
Hmm.
molds. Like
Hmm.
she would do. Her husband was in science, and she used to make coffee mugs for his students that would
Hmm.
come through with the very, she was very
Oh,
artistic.
that's cool.
Yeah, and she would paint and make and then glaze them, but she would pour the slip into this mug mold
Hmm. Hmm.
and then it would harden and then she would sandpaper it, paint it, glaze it and fire it in the kiln and give her husband's students these mugs for gifts and things.
That's
So
cool. That's
very
very
cool.
cool. Hmm.
So clay is not just earth energy, earth elements. It's really all of the elements are imbued in clay. So
Hmm.
if you think about air, wind energy, which deals with muscle spasms, when you think about working with the elements in clay, there's a lot of things that you can use it for energy wise. So like the air energy can help with muscle spasms, movement disorders,
Mm.
convulsions, and wind clay or air clay is blue
Hmm.
and gray.
Okay.
You have the earth energy that you can work with clay, and that deals with all sorts of issues like obesity, flatulence,
Oh,
laziness,
oh.
and the earth, I know, right? The earth dominant clay is yellow. You have metal energy that brings the sensation of dryness, healing joints and
Mm.
skin. And so it's really a white colored clay. And I know you're going to talk all about a bunch of the different colors.
Hmm.
Um, Water clay works with urinary tract systems and I guess the whole water stuff in your body,
The
and
water stuff.
the water stuff. I am articulate as always, Ren.
Oh
Thank you.
man.
Black and dark brown clay is known to be full of water energy.
Okay.
And also, now it says back to earth. I am repeating myself, but earth energy also deals with your deepest desires and literally manifests. I think I meant the fire energy is what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It
Hmm.
manifests in the burning side of working with clay, and that helps things that have to do with your heart and your blood vessels.
So what would our red Georgia clay be?
Probably fire, I would think,
Probably
with the
fire.
red. I don't know. You've got the the color stuff that you were
Yeah.
telling me about.
So, yeah. So off of that, now the color can be the color of your clay or the color that you make it when it's done. So like a
Like
glaze
the
type of
paints.
whatever you want
Okay.
on top.
Okay. Hmm.
So I mean, obviously, if you take it to that deeper level where you have, like, let's say you have red clay and then you glaze it in something red so that you have that double intention or whatever you're meaning, then go ahead and do that. But if you
Hmm.
don't have red clay for, whatever reason, then it do what you want. Like you're not missing anything if
Hmm.
that's all that you have. You know what I mean?
But you can
So,
buy clays and
yeah,
I
you
mean
can. Yeah.
the glazes and paints and the colors too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even if you only have regular white clay and you want to, or
Yep.
if you're working with like that slip stuff, it came out kind of whitish. But then you can paint it or glaze it with different colors for the same
Yep.
intentions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, we all know really what colors mean.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about them a lot, but just to,
Mm-hmm.
refresh your brain and maybe give you a little bit more ideas than what
Yeah.
we've all talked about the color red and being passion, but we've had scattered out ideas of, oh, red could also be used for this and this. And so this is kind of it all condensed a little bit.
Yeah. And
So,
into clay specifically.
yes. So red can mean passion, vitality, strength, survival, fertility, courage, sexual potency. I knew you threw that in there. Mercy, action,
Me?
danger. Yep. War. It could also mean the fire element, conflict, combat, sports, independence, assertiveness, competition, renewal, energy, health, motivation, joy, self-esteem, business deals slash buying and selling, which I know maybe some of you guys are business owners and you need something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and ambition.
So make yourself a red clay, red glazed, red painted coffee mug and drink
Red
out of it every
everything and
day.
drink red coffee out of it
Drink red
or
coffee.
whatever red beverage. Oh man. So then we have pink. So pink can be used for love, self-love, compassion, nurturing, calming, femininity, friendship. I always mess up femininity somehow. I did fine, but
Yes,
friendship
you did.
after that was in my brain. Romance, partnership, spirituality, and emotional healing, personal success, protection of children, domestic harmony, self improvement, maturity, and new beginnings.
Okay.
So if you need any of that, use pink.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have orange. So orange can be used for creativity, self-expression, relieving depression and feelings of abandonment, increasing opportunities, happiness, mental alertness, intellectual matters, kindness, sealing a spell, harvest, strength, overcoming addiction, legal matters slash justice. Man,
Okay.
that's just like word after word. Investments, joy, business success, ambition, vitality, fun, action, opportunity, and celebration. Woo.
Now, you worked with clay and glazes. Can you mix the colors? I mean, not mix them
So
like to make one new color, but put this both colors
yeah,
on a coffee mug or
yeah.
whatever.
So it depends because there are different types of glaze as well. So
Okay.
I don't really know 100%, but I know that some bases are different. So let's say you have water based versus oil based. Now it's not technically like that with glaze, but it's something like that. You each
Okay.
have there are different textures and consistencies, and some of them can overlap and some of them can't. Some of them are fired at a higher temperature than others, etc. So you have
Mm-hmm.
different levels of glaze. So let's say where all of this is in one level of glaze and they're all the same fired at the same temperature, they're all equal.
Okay.
You can, like, let's say I dip my whole mug into red and then I dip part of it into pink. So you still have
Okay.
that red glaze underneath that pink because now the pink is on top. So
Okay.
the way that it'll work is when it's fired, it kind of goes through this it kind of turns to glass basically. That's
Yes.
that's the best way that I can describe it. And the pink on top of the red will make a different type of pattern, and you don't actually know what it's going to do because it always reacts a different way to the heat. And so
That's
you
so
have like a
interesting.
general idea of what it's going to come out to be, but if you put the pink on the red, then it's going to come out different than if you put the red on the pink. And so
Okay.
it's going to have these really cool different patterns and streaks, and it's just going to look really cool.
So, like with an Easter egg, sometimes I like to have four different colors on it and I'll dip parts of the egg. That's the same
Yep.
concept.
Yep. Yep. It's
Interesting.
just fired under in extreme heat, and then you're just curious to see what it's going to look like afterwards.
That's exciting. That
Mhm.
makes it fun.
Yeah, I had one piece that turned out beautiful, and I had just dunked it in random colors, all with along that same, fire
Mm-hmm.
heat
Mm-hmm.
category, and it turned out really cool. Now the other one, see, I did the same thing with two. One of them turned out, but the
Okay.
other one turned out really cool. Like that one just had a different reaction than the other one did.
Well, I was just thinking, so in the orange color is business success, um, investments, and red was also business deals and buying and selling.
Hmm.
So if you're in that kind of business, you would want to use both red and orange, and
Oh
I
yeah.
bet that would be pretty.
And you definitely don't have to overlap colors either. Like part of your mug or whatever it is can be red, and then part of it you can make orange. And it's what's so easy about working with glazes and adapting your piece is if you don't like it, you just wash it off
Wow.
before you fire it. If you don't like it and you don't want it to overlap, you just wash it off. You take like a sponge, you can run
Fascinating.
it under the sink,
Now,
whatever.
can glazes can only be the you can only use glazes in pieces that are going to be fired under that high
Yes.
heat. So you
Yes.
can't do it in your oven and use
No.
glazes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No.
That's that's a bummer because I have an
Yeah.
oven.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, our
actually
ovens
I
are
have a kiln in the garage. I just can't use it because it's
yeah.
not plugged in.
No, it has to be very extreme high heat.
Okay. Okay. So yellow is
Hmm.
associated with pleasure, success, happiness, friendship, learning, memory, concentration, increase in productivity, intellect, humility, persuasion, inspiration, imagination, solar magic, of course,
Hmm.
charm, confidence and self-esteem, beauty, the air element, travel, and flexibility.
Okay.
That's interesting. No wonder you like yellow so much. Those are
I
all
like
things
a
I think of with you.
I like a mustard yellow.
Oh, well, you like the
Yellow.
hippie yellow too.
Yeah, the deep
I
yellows.
guess that might be the
Like
mustard.
mustardy golden.
Golden yellow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Green. This is a long list. Maybe I won't read all of
Maybe a
them,
couple
but
of them.
prosperity, of course,
Hmm.
abundance, money,
Hmm.
increasing love and trust, general healing, wellness, transformation, new beginnings, career, employment. See, so you might, if you're going for the whole business thing, you might want to put a little green in it.
Hmm.
And these colors also aren't just for glazes, and it's not just for the color of the clay, although it can be, but it could also be the colors you're going to paint it
Yep.
if you want to paint it.
It can be anything.
Um, mhm. um, Hope, immortality. That's interesting. Rebirth, garden magic, herbal magic. I can see that.
Hmm.
Fairy magic, fertility. I can see that. Luck, courage, change, peace, harmony, gardening, gardeners, uh, household improvements. Oh, and it counteracts envy, greed, or jealousy. So if you're looking for a
Oh.
talisman that you want to make or whatever,
Hmm.
green might be one if you're looking to counteract envy, greed, or jealousy.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Blue, weight loss. Who knew
Oh,
that? Yeah,
weird. Hmm.
truth. We always hear about truth with blue and fidelity with blue, patience, domestic harmony, organization, removing bad vibrations. So that might be a really good color for an altar bowl or an
Oh
altar
yeah.
dish. Sincerity, astral projection. So that might be a good token to make if you're going to attempt to astral project. Use the blue color.
Hmm.
It increases wisdom, wealth, joy, opportunity, patience, happiness, fidelity, It also, think of the color blue. It goes with the ocean, um, and what that might stand for. Legal matters, doctors, guardians, police officers. I guess police officers make sense. They wear
They
blue
wear blue.
uniforms. Self-improvement, research, studying, and reading.
Hmm. Well, I
You
have.
know, I was going to say in Harry Potter, blue was Ravenclaw, so that makes sense. The intelligence, the wisdom,
Hmm.
they were the smart ones, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to those of us who were Gryffindor who run headfirst into danger going, yeah, this will be fun.
This will be great. I know I didn't have to worry about that. I'm Slytherin.
Yeah, you stand in the background and watch everybody and go, what
I
an
think everybody's
idiot.
so stupid. So you have purple/violet, which can be used for clairvoyance, psychic ability, relief of emotional hurt or pain, spiritual protection, heal wounded pride, spirituality, wisdom, meditation, justice, forgiveness, humility, the occult slash hidden forces slash secret dealings. That one's a three-parter.
Okay.
Memory, intelligence, communication, um, education, correspondences, messages, editing, writing. It could, I mean, I feel like all of these colors are like we're just giving you guys suggestions, sort of like
Hmm.
what we already know the colors are associated with. But if you're feeling like you need a red mug because of a different meaning than what we said, then you need a red
Of
mug because of
course.
that reason.
I mean, I
Um,
often think of purple as being
like
royalty.
yeah, that I was gonna say the same thing, royalty or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
then we have indigo, which is more like a purple blue, so maybe like a
Yeah,
mix.
kind of like our chakras are related to colors. You could make your own chakra stones in all of these colors and actually
Hmm.
place the stones on your chakras while you are meditating. That would be
Hmm.
cool.
And then I'm just gonna skip a little bit. So now we have black.
Hmm.
So black is for new beginnings, which I really like that. Rebirth, the absorption of energies,
Yes.
patience. It can also mean death, karma, protection, I already said manifestation, law, understanding one's limit,
Hmm.
overcoming obstacles. I like that black has a little bit of both happy and,
Hmm.
bad, not bad, because death is just a rebirth in a way, if you believe in that. Um, and then we have,
And if you do the black with the white, like the yin and yang, that
mhm,
could be a really cool
it
thing
could
to do
be,
as
yeah,
colors.
that would be cool.
Hmm.
And then we have brown, which can be used as earth magic, understandably,
Hmm.
concentration, material goods, locating lost objects, earth element, kind of the same as earth magic, real
Hmm.
estate, which that one just makes me giggle, real estate, food and financial crises. Then
Hmm.
last but not least, we have white. So that is the all purpose, the unity, the purity, the cleansing, the peace, the balance, the spirituality, healing, innocence, you name it.
Yeah, and I wonder if, like with candle magic, how you can use a white candle pretty much as a substitute. I wonder if you can use white
You can white.
clay. If you can white clay, if you can use white in clay work as an all-purpose
Hmm.
chain, to cover. If you can only find white, then I think you can focus your intent to make it
Yeah, I agree.
whatever, whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that this spot right here is a good spot to give everyone our code word for our
Yes.
giveaway. I know we haven't mentioned it at all during this episode, but
Mm-hmm.
we do have our giveaway code. And so you are going to send this code to our email at c3riverandwren@gmail.com to be entered into the drawing. So that's again, c3riverandwren@gmail.com. So our code word is Muddy Buddy.
Guess who
Henceforth,
came up with that one? That was
uh,
Rin.
yes. So we are in the clay episode, and I thought it would be fun to relate it to our topic. So
Hmm.
Muddy Buddy is the code word. So email that to us, and we will put your name in the drawing for a chance to win a t-shirt design that you would get to pick out of 4 designs that we made. Woo!
Hmm. Woo! Yeah, I guess we'll
Now,
need to know your size too. I
yeah,
guess you
but
can
that'll
email
be
us.
when we
I guess when we
when
contact
you
you if you've
win,
won.
yes,
Yeah.
when you win, we will email you and get all your information and we will get those started and sent to you as fast as we can.
Yes.
I will say we will give you guys 1 week, 1 week to send us in your names from when this episode comes out. So this Friday, comes out Friday. By next
So
Friday,
the 31st is the
yes,
last day to send
to
us
send
your
us your
emails.
email. Now, if you
Yeah.
are maybe a day late or so, we might accept you, obviously.
Hmm.
We're
Hmm.
not going to get it done immediately on Saturday. But we would like to keep it within a timeline so that we
Hmm.
understand who's in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
competition and not.
And so people aren't just going, what happened? Did
Yeah.
I win? Did I not
Hmm.
win? So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have 1 week and we will contact you if you are the winner. Now back to our regularly scheduled episode.
Okay. So now that we know a little bit about clay in general, let's talk about clay and witchcraft, which is why we're all here.
Yes.
So you can make personalized, how do we use clay in our witchcraft?
Hmm.
You can make personalized sigils and symbols. So clay magic allows for the incorporation of sigils and symbols into clay creations. You can either make the actual sigil itself,
Hmm.
or you can carve or imprint the sigils into whatever the object is that you're making. If you're making an altar dish, you can carve it with the sigils that go with whatever your intent is.
Hmm.
Um, that adds an extra layer of intent, not only the color of the clay, the glaze that you might be using, but the sigil on top of it. And I actually was looking around when I was doing the research to see what other witches do. And I
Hmm.
found on Reddit, which of course I go to Reddit all the time.
Yeah.
And this witch on Reddit said that this is how she uses clay in her practice. She says, when I used to make cups and bowls, I would make a sigil on the bottom instead of my signature.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
because I always put my initials and the year, like on
Yeah.
my paintings and
Yeah.
whatnot. But she does it with a sigil. For good health, calm protection, or optimism, those were the things that she would um, make a sigil to correspond with and put that on whatever it is that she's
Hmm.
making. She said,
Hmm.
I would also mix my glaze with intent, shaking
Hmm.
my jars or stirring them while thinking of my goal for the piece. And if you're going to stir it, you can stir it clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on what
Yep,
your
depending on what you
intent
want.
is.
Hmm.
She said, a lovely table bowl glazed brown and homey, I guess, with a protection sigil on the bottom to bless and offer fruit to her guests. And now that's a cool idea.
Yeah, I
So
like that idea.
she made this big brown bowl that was
Of
beautiful,
a
and
good bowl. It's
yeah.
such a good idea. I love
And
it.
as your guests take an apple out of it or whatever you
Hmm.
have in it, they then have that protection passed on to them through the sigil that's on your
Hmm.
bowl.
I like it.
She says a teal set of mugs made to ease a foggy mind with a gentle caffeinated tea or a chamomile to double the potency. She said the beauty of the craft and practice is that it can be woven into all you do in little ways. One of her favorites, she said, protection tablets.
Ooh.
She presses rose petals, bay leaves, and blackberry thorns against small bits of clay to leave their essence in the image, removing any plant material before she puts it in the kiln, and then glazes over it when she's done. How
That's
cool is
cool.
that?
That is really cool.
She says they're fragile little charms. They're easily replaced if they do get broken, but having these little tablets and tiles are meant to protect a person from jinxes and curse and hexes. And having a worry stone in your pocket, you can make a worry stone, is something that she says that she's come to adore in her
Hmm.
clay magic.
Hmm.
And I
That's a good
thought,
idea.
what cool ideas.
Yeah.
So you can use clay magic in conjunction with rituals and ceremonies. For example, a witch might create a clay vessel to hold offerings to whatever deity it is, offerings to the ancestors. You can use the clay puppets that we talk about in spell work. You can craft items like chalices,
Hmm.
bowls, incense holders would be a perfect thing to make. You can make those little figurines or idols. You can have them representing the deities. I love the earth, the Gaia, the Mother Earth with the pregnant belly and the
Mm-hmm.
that you see. I don't know that I would have the talent to make that, but if you have that talent, and it doesn't even have to look perfect, it's your intent that
No,
matters.
yeah, absolutely. It doesn't
Or
have to
whatever,
be perfect.
yeah, whatever spirits, like if you are a Medusa fan, you could have her head with little snakes coming off of
Mm-hmm.
it that
Mm-hmm.
you make
Absolutely.
out of that.
Hmm. You can also use clay magic in transformation and manifestation. I
Hmm.
tried to talk too fast. Mana.
Mena,
So
mena, mena.
the transformation of clay from this malleable substance to a solid object, kind of shows the process of turning intentions into reality, which
Hmm.
I really do enjoy that.
Hmm.
So, you make it into the shape that you want, then the clay dries and hardens, and then that's when your intentions take shape.
Hmm.
So, charms and symbols can be carved into this and then solidified, and that just adds extra intention and
Hmm.
extra purpose to what you're making.
You know what would be cool would be to use clay to make runes that you cast,
Oh
casting
yeah.
runes, where
Hmm.
you do the Fulthark Viking runes, and
Hmm.
you can actually etch them into the clay and then
Yep.
harden them and then
It'd be
use them
so
to
cool.
throw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be so cool. You can
Hmm.
also use clay for healing and cleansing. So, clay itself is known for healing properties and cleansing. And so, just using it with magical intention in your practice can amplify those healing intentions and purify the energy of your magical creations. I
Hmm.
mean, sculpting them into objects with specific intentions, such as like an amulet or a talisman, with not just healing in mind, but you can also do things like protection, lock, or anything like that.
Oh,
Um,
like think about making a four-leaf clay, whatever your lucky symbol is.
uh-huh.
You know, a rabbit's foot would be kind of weird to make, but
I mean,
a
it would just look
four-leaf,
like a stump.
yeah, that, yeah,
Anyways,
I'm
it would look
picturing
like
that in
a
my head.
poo. It would look like a little poo.
I was thinking more along the lines of a four-leaf clover. But yeah, you
A
could
little
actually
poo.
a little poo. I'm going to carry a poo in my pocket.
Ah,
Back on topic.
anyways. Yes. I'm still on the topic of poo. Anyways, so you can also use your artistic expression in your clay.
Oh, for
Even
sure.
if you feel like
Yeah.
you don't have an artistic bone in your body, you have artistic expression.
Yes, for
So,
sure.
this is a creative outlet for anybody, witches and everybody, to express their abilities, their artistic abilities, while infusing their creation with magical energy. It doesn't have to be cute, it doesn't have to be pretty, and I mean, it doesn't have to be that for you to be artsy or be creative.
I think
Um,
this would be a great idea for a coven
oh
or
yeah, it would be
a
so
date night
cool.
if you've got two witches that are dating,
Hmm.
or what a fun way to let out your artistic expression and get in there and create
Oh,
something together.
absolutely.
What a great thing to do.
Absolutely. You can bring this creativity into your life by using clay and strengthen your intuition. You might consider making amulets, pendants, figures of goddesses and gods,
Hmm.
or whatever resonates with you, and put it on your altar, etc. So, I
Hmm.
mean, clay is I mean, I don't like putting like feminine and masculine things to objects like clay, because I feel like if you feel like clay is masculine, then definitely it's masculine to you. Then you use it in that way.
Hmm.
And then
For
if
sure.
clay is feminine to you in any way, or it just kind of, pulls that way to you, then it's that way for you in your practice. So
Hmm.
it's very feminine, I guess you could say, in a way of nature due to its like life consistency. It would make for the perfect material for embracing your femininity. But again,
You
if
know,
you feel
I,
like it's masculine, then you can use it to embrace your
I
masculinity as well.
wonder if it's considered feminine because of the elasticity and ability. I mean, not to say that men aren't adaptable and malleable, but a lot of times women do have to adjust themselves. I mean, it's been a male-dominated world for a long time, and it's
Hmm.
not so much now, thank goodness.
Hmm.
But I wonder if that's why sometimes it's considered feminine, because women are
Maybe.
also elastic and able to
Yeah,
do a whole
maybe.
bunch
I
of
could
different
see that.
things.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then I want to talk about imbuing energy into clay. So
Hmm.
as you mold the clay, you can imbue it with your own energy and intentions, like we've been saying. But this is where this is really, really, and I want to hone in on this, focus on your desires as you shape the clay and imagine the energy flowing from your hands, from your body into your fingertips, into the
Hmm.
material itself. This
Hmm.
will really help bring anything that you're creating to life.
I love that. Yeah, another thing you can do with clay that we were just thinking about and talking about, creating things that don't have to look good.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can create your familiar or your animal
Oh,
guide
that's cute.
out of
I like,
clay.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can
So
make a
like
little poo.
a little poo. Yeah, for me it would be like a bee. But
Hmm.
it could be, and you want to concentrate on the essence of that animal. And if it was like a spirit guide, maybe it would be a wolf or an owl or a bear, and
Hmm.
you're imbuing that into your clay work.
Hmm.
And then once you do that, get ready to receive messages or consult your animal when needed, because you've got this representation that you put together with your own hands and intention. And, take your time, invite that guide in, show your devotion to what their um, correspondences are, and you can put it on your altar.
Hmm.
And you could talk to it. You
Hmm.
could do a daily ritual with it, meditate with it. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I like all
And
those
then
ideas.
since I make jewelry, one of the
Hmm.
things I was thinking about is making enchanted beads.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, and did you know clay beads are believed to have been first made in the Neolithic area around 10,000 BCE. The oldest
Okay.
known beads were found in the graves of Egyptian kings, I guess pharaohs,
Pharaohs,
and
not what I said earlier. What did I
yeah, I don't
say?
remember what you
Oh
say,
gosh, I'm embarrassed.
and date back between 82,000 to 90,000 years. I think that's fascinating. But you can create your beads and then make a necklace out of them,
Hmm.
um, to bring courage and confidence or whatever it is that you want. Beads can add protection. You can make necklaces, earrings, bracelets, anklets. You might actually make. Wow. You
Wow.
might actually. Okay. Okay. I'm having gin talk now. This is I'm having trouble.
Hmm.
You might make a third eye tiara or a diadem. You know those things that
Oh
hang,
yeah,
yeah, on your
those are
forehead, right
cool.
over
Yeah,
your third eye,
those are cool.
to enhance your psychic abilities. How cool! A homemade bead to
Yeah,
hang
that would
right
be
there.
cool. Hmm.
And then from the shape to the color, the beads can be super strong in whatever your intent might be. And then once your bead is baked or dried or however you've made it, um, you can charge it with your intent, and you can cleanse the beads, which we've talked about how to cleanse things either in
Hmm.
salt
Hmm.
or through
Water.
smoke
Hmm.
or um, incense or whatever.
Yeah.
Another Redditor, I was looking at what people do to make what they do in their witchcraft to make clay magic. And this
Hmm.
one said you could make demon bowls or magic trap bowls by chanting the prayers or the spell as you throw the bowl or bottle instead of inscribing the spell on it.
Hmm.
This person said fired clay embodies the four elements: earth and water for the material, fire for the firing, and air for the creative mental exercise, as well as the whirling, rising motion of the potter's wheel. The materials in ceramic can also have specific correspondences that you can tie to your spell. If you're making your own temper for the clay, then using use of various materials can work with the correspondence that you have for your goal.
Hmm.
river clay versus mountain clay is something that you might want to consider,
Oh,
where the source of your clay comes from.
not just backyard clay.
Yeah, not just the red stuff we got in our garden back there.
Uh-huh.
Um, Imprint whatever you want onto the clay.
Mhm.
You know, have a clear quartz that you might want to put onto it. I've tried making wands out of clay and with quartz ends, and I have not been successful at doing
Hmm.
so, but I'm sure that there's a possible way to do that.
Yeah.
Because if you want to have a wand that you use in your spells,
Hmm.
clay is something that you can inscribe whatever magical things onto it that you want to. And I think that would be a great tool to create circles, your sacred circles, or whatever.
Hmm.
So making wands might be fun.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we should probably end it here because I was reading it and it's a bunch of what we already said.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I just know play magic is a really great way to feel magic.
yes, absolutely. You really get into your element, into the
Yeah.
earth element. You feel more connected than I don't know. I don't want to say than another
See,
element, but I feel more connected with my practice and with myself when working hands-on with something.
you know how I've always said, oh, everybody can feel the elements if I mean, the energies around us if they just try.
Hmm.
But my husband has tried and he's like, I don't feel anything. But I wonder if he worked with clay, if he would feel something because it's more
Hmm.
tangible. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know either. But I feel like it's a physical way to get your intent into this cool little thing that you're making.
I agree.
I was watching Suits the other day. This is a little bit off topic, but not too much. Um, I don't have you watched Suits?
Part part of it. I got bored.
So one of the characters loves to go mudding
Uh-huh.
and he goes and sits in various muds, which to me is a form of clay,
Yeah.
really.
I
It's,
mean,
you
yeah.
know, and depending on where the mud comes from, different parts of the world where the spirituality of this is there or that is there, and he soaks in it. And I love that idea. I wonder if
Mhm.
there's mudding places around us, and I feel like that's a
Maybe.
a type of clay magic too.
Hmm. We'll
Okay,
have to
maybe not.
see. I don't know.
She's
We'll have to
looking at me
see.
like I don't know
I'm
about that.
intrigued. I'm also a germaphobe. So I love to get my hands dirty and then I can wash them. I don't want to lay my body into it because there's a lot of orifices that things can get
Yes.
into and get
Yes.
infected if it's got something not in it that you need.
That's true, I suppose. I
I'm
suppose.
just a germaphobe. So,
Anyway, cool idea.
anyways,
I
yes.
mean,
I
it would be
really like
like
this topic a lot,
a ritual bath, but in
but
mud.
in
How
mud.
cool. That would be
Interesting.
cool.
Mm,
And you could inscribe stuff in the clay in the mud while you're
mm.
sitting in it.
Mm.
She's not so sure about that.
Maybe
But
I'll put
that's
my
all we
feet
have.
in the
I
mud.
I do
Hmm.
love this idea, and I feel like it is a way, especially if you're a new witch and you're having trouble feeling the magic. I
Hmm.
think clay magic might be a
Be
great
something
way
to
to connect.
activate that. Yeah.
Yes, I think
Hmm.
so. You
Okay,
gonna do the
outro time.
outro? Yes, outro time.
So if you liked what you heard and you want to be a part of our giveaway, find our what's the word code word in this episode and you'll be entered into a for a chance to win a t-shirt. Woo! um
Woo!
that was very ungracefully said. um but if you liked what you heard, you can go to www.c3witchypodcast.com. There we will have links to where no there we have links, not will have. We have links to our social medias. We have links to all of our episodes. We have information about how you can support us through Buzzsprout or Patreon. We have our newsletter. We have our merch website. There's a link at the top, or you can go to www.c3witchypodcastmerch.com. We currently have limited time designs, so get them while you can.
Mhm.
My brain is spiraling. What else?
I don't
I think
know.
that's it.
Listen to us and subscribe on YouTube. Did you say that already?
Yes, YouTube is very important. So if you would subscribe and watch our episodes on there, or just let them run in the background. You can turn down the
Yeah,
sound, just let them run in the background
that
and
would help
share it
us.
with
Yeah.
your friends. Always share us with your friends and leave reviews. Anything helps get us out there.
Yep. So that's all we have. Thank you for listening.
Hmm.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.
Woo!